Hey guys, let's get started. Students be able to analyze sources about the Nanking incident and evaluate potential bias. And I asked you the do now, when reading about an historical event, would it be better to read an account from a citizen of that nation or a foreigner? And I asked why. And you could have obviously totally different answers depending on how you interpret this question, but I think it's something worth thinking about, especially as we get into today's topic. So we have been talking a lot about the lead up to World War II. Today we're going to be talking about Japan again, because they are a major power during World War II. And the last time we talked about Japan, we were looking at the Meiji Restoration and how now Japan is on a mission to not only modernize and catch up with the rest of the world, but also industrialize. However, there's a problem. Japan is a volcanic island, so unlike, let's say, Great Britain or Germany or even America, they don't have the natural resources that they need to industrialize. So they need to find those things elsewhere if they want to continue to industrialize. So this new imperial Japan, and we use that word imperial like imperialism. So they're going to start to take over different countries, different islands in an attempt to gain these resources and in an attempt to catch up with Europe and the United States. And we've already seen this happening a little bit. There was that war with Russia at one point. They do get involved in World War I. They're an ally to Great Britain, and they kind of hold it down. They really are starting to prove to the world that they are not just a small little island in the Pacific. They're starting to become a world power, and one that should be taken very seriously. And this new government starts to change things in Japan too. So this is a interesting thing. This was basically something that was taught in all Japanese primary schools, elementary schools at the time, and you can read it. The old order is now crumbling. The ideals of Japan are represented by the principle that the benevolent rule of the emperor may be extended so as to embrace the whole world. Japan is the fountain source of the Yamato race, which is basically like the Japanese race. Manchuria is its reservoir, its drinking water. East Asia is its rice field. So it's starting to get a little bit full of itself, I think is a fair way, a little bit racist, talking about pure race here, almost like Japan, the Yamato race is superior. And we've seen this before, and we'll see this in other places as well. So definitely a superiority complex, and that tends to be the way that imperialist nations think that they're better, and that's why they're allowed to go into these other countries, because they're going to bring, they're going to make things better for everybody. So Japan does invade some smaller islands in the Pacific, but it does see its opportunity with a weakened China. Remember, China had just fought a civil war. Mao Zedong and his Red Army had to flee to the interior, to the mountains. So Japan is going to invade the northern part. And I have a map in a second. I can show you exactly where. So they invade northern China, a place called Manchuria. And we're going to read today about an event that goes by many names. It could go by the Nanking incident. It could go by the rape of Nanking. It is one of the most debated topics in modern Asian history. Some nations admit that it happened. Some nations do not. Some say it wasn't as bad as other accounts make it out to be. So that's what we're going to look at today. And just to show you what we're talking about, Japan is here, and they're going to invade. First, they invade Korea, and then they're going to invade this area of Manchuria here, and then just a little bit of spoilers, the nation of Japan is going to create an empire that's going to stretch into all of these places. So that's where we're headed. So the work today has to do with textbooks. So I gave you two textbook accounts of this rape of Nanking. One is from China. The other is from Japan. So you got to read these and try to figure out which is which and just put it here. And then anything that's like really different between the two, just highlight it in green. If something is like wildly different between the two accounts, highlight it. That way they jump out at you like, yo, this one says this one says this, which is like completely different. And then the exit slip today is based on this final document. Now, this is someone who's an expert in this history and a professor who taught at Yale. He specializes in Chinese history. And based on this, you're going to be answering this exit slip here. So you're explaining to me what was the Nanking incident, which textbook contains more bias, and I would like you to use at least two of the documents, A, B, or C, to back up your claim. Great. Bye.